What's up, guys? Welcome to the Resellers Podcast with Tech and Sports and Daily Refinement. Today, we're going to talk about the fact that there's new money coming into the system. We are looking at $600 for sure, and $2,000 might be coming. We want you guys to take advantage of this because this type of free money doesn't grow on trees. So we want to give you some things to prepare right now. And we know for sure that the best thing you can do is invest this money into a business or into some kind of thing that can generate more money. And the worst thing you could do right now is buy a PS5. Tech, what are your thoughts on this new money coming into the system?
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like you said, it doesn't grow on trees, but it literally does come out of thin air. So there's pros and cons to this. Talked about last or the week before that something like 22% of all money printed in the United States of America was printed this year. And this was pre this new stimulus. So $600 hit for people midnight last night. Um, and $2,000 is being held up by Mitch McConnell. The Republicans say yes, Democrats say yes, presidents say yes. A lot of people want $1,000. All politics aside, I know when the $1,200 stimulus hit earlier in the year, which is the only stimulus relief that the United States have got. During that time, there was 25,000 listings. I had increased my listings from 120 per day to 250 items per day during that time. And then a couple of months, I started all the way down to 18,000 items. So I sold a tremendous amount of items when they gave the $1,200 stimulus. So if they do end up giving the $2,000 stimulus, I think it's time to rock and roll, and I think it's go time. So I hope everyone is as positioned as possible to fully take advantage of it.
Yep. So the first thing is we want you to put this money into an investment. Try to use is, and you made a good point before the chat, which was if you spend this money on things, it's the companies getting the money. You did not benefit from the extra stimulus. So make sure this stimulus helps you get into a better position, not a company.
Absolutely. If you buy a PlayStation 5 and a big screen, then that means Sony got your stimulus. You didn't get the stimulus. You got a PS5 and a big screen. And if you're given this money as a stimulus, and if you can reinvest it into yourself, whether it be learning, whether it be into your own business, whether it be sort of growth in yourself, it's going to be way, way, way better than buying a PS5 and some off whites.
And I want to point out also that right now people are spending more money in small business. If you go to a local coffee shop, people are tipping $5, $10. They're trying to keep these businesses alive. If you're out there trying to make it, there's basically some free money everywhere. There's different opportunities. People are giving the small guys a shot right now because that's it's support small business is a thing. People want that to happen now. There are more small business freelance entrepreneurs than ever.
Yeah, absolutely. I know from my brick and mortar store, we have not skipped a beat during this whole time. I know when we opened up after we were forced to close down, I think we had 150 people in the line. And people just continue to support the store like crazy. And I'm very, very thankful of that. But like, supporting the small guy, supporting an independent person, supporting a sole proprietor, it's very, very, very important.
So number two is that we know there's going to be some insane opportunities in 2021, but we don't know exactly what those opportunities are. So we want people to pay attention to local. One of the things that kills margin when you're doing deals is the shipping cost. And right now during this situation, I haven't had to do anything but local deals because but I'm paying attention locally.
Yeah, always pay attention locally in a good economy and a bad economy. If you could do a local deal, you drive to the person, you shake their hand, you do the deal, you're going to get a much better price than if I was trying to do a deal with you, Chris, in California, and you got to ship it to Florida. Shipping alone will kill the deal. So there's going to be a lot of people who happen across inventory and they got to move it. There's going to be a lot of people who close down their business and have inventory and they have to move it. The only way to liquidate a small business is going to be through these localized networks such as Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist ad on Instagram. You're going to have to keep your ear to the streets, and a lot of these businesses, as sad as it is to say, are not going to come and they are going to have to liquidate inventory. Maybe you've been planning on getting racks for your business. People are going to be liquidating clothing racks. People are going to be liquidating fixtures. There's going to be all types of liquidation, and you have to have your eyes peeled. But even more importantly than all of that, you have to have money in the bank, money in your pocket, ready to pounce on these opportunities.
That's right. I'd say right now is everyone should be as frugal as possible. Don't waste money because that $1 that you're spending could be $5 that you're spending within a year. It's not going to take a long time like normal. When there's blood in the streets, you can double up real quick. And if you can drive there to the opportunity, you can get 95% off. We saw Resale Rabbit. He bought a Shopco for like 97% off because he showed up on the last day with all the equipment, all the trucks, and they just said, go for it. So
Yeah, I've done that several times back in 2008. I cleaned out several sports authorities, several Radio Shacks, Second Cities. I had dump trucks literally waiting outside for my tree service. I had all my guys. We didn't cut any trees that day. Everyone was inside moving inventory from the store to the trucks. And if you go on the last day, everything is 90% off. You literally get stuff for pennies on the dollar, and I made a tremendous amount of money cleaning out those stores. But again, you have to have the goal to do so. You have to put yourself in the position to have the money to make that deal. And you have to have the foresight. If you don't have trucks, you have to go rent trucks. If you don't have warehouse space, you have to go rent warehouse space, because when big stores like that do close, it's almost an opportunity of a lifetime. And as bad as it is, like, the vulture feeling I have doing it, like, it's all part of the game, and like, it is what it is.
yeah, during these times, businesses get exposed. And even in normal times, 9 out of 10 businesses don't make it past 5 years. So when this happens, it just speeds up everything, which means there's going to be more flea market stuff when people selling normal goods, more garage sale stuff, and there's going to be people presenting their stores for sale. I'm going to talk about buying some eBay stores, but the first word of caution is remember in every single business, including my own eBay store, things are artificially marked up. Be careful. They're not as much as the store says they are.
Yeah, I've been through liquidations when I used to work a real job, and they always up the price and then mark it down. So if you go and the signs say, 20% off, 30% off, 60% off, 70% off, you're still paying the same exact retail price or more that they had the item for on the shelves when they were open. So those big time stores, the best time to go is at the end. And they still have so much stuff on the very last day where they start to just say fill a garbage bag for $5. And like, just because there's so much stuff and not one person can buy it all. So you just got to be smart. You got to do your research. You can always talk to the liquidators. Sometimes they play ball, sometimes play hardball, very hard to negotiate with. Some of them, they just want to move the stuff and go on to the next store. They're all bonus incentive based on how much money they can squeeze out of the store. So if you can present them with a good deal and you have the means to do it, they might close the store early and let you just clean out everything.
There was an eBay store that was presented to me that had around a $30 ASP. But when I looked at the store, definitely go through the store. And a quick way to research is to look at price buckets. So I looked at our store and saw how many items were under $20. And it was like 90%. How many items were under $15? And it was like 80%. And then the ASP of $30 was because she had 100 or so items that were hundreds of dollars. That's what brought the price of everything up. And when I looked, I said, okay, I can do this deal, but I need all of these good items because that pays the bills. The rest of the stuff is just filler. And she would not sell those good items. So that's a red flag. When you're buying a store, you take everything because what essentially happens is you get the lower end stuff for free when you are doing it. But if you have to pay for the lower end stuff, you might as well thrift it yourself because you're basically paying for their bad buys. Let them pay for the mistakes. You get their home runs at a discount. That's what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. You can't pay for people's mistakes and let them keep the better stuff. That doesn't work any kind of way.
Also, during this time, people are definitely going to be desperate, but that also means you might get played. So I was presented with a $12,000 deal with a worth of brand new with tags Adidas. This is like $5.50 a piece, something pretty cheap. And clothing, new Adidas, probably going to sell between 20 and 50, depending on what it is. But again, you don't know the condition. I don't know if it's actually new without tags. There's a bit of risk there. And when someone says, okay, this is $12,000 with the new with tags Adidas, and let's say the MSRP is 70 grand, you think of it on paper, it looks great. But the terms, since I had never done business with this person, were a little scary. It was wire transfer only, and I had to wait 5 days for shipping. Just too risky for right now. And I was telling you, a $12,000 kick in the nuts is a bad Christmas.
Yeah, it's definitely a bad Christmas. And I know we talked about it when you were presented with the deal. And I said, like, if that's the only way he's going to present money, then I think it's a little bit sketchy. Because if it was a legitimate guy, he would accept a cashier's, he would accept something that's a little more secure for both parties. Because you could meet up with the guy, go to the bank, and when you come back, the guy could be gone. So, like, way too risky. And like you said, desperate times call for desperate measures. So, like, when people are struggling, you can never put past how low they're going to stoop to get one over on the next guy. So, when you're on Facebook, when you're on Craigslist and you see, an iPhone 12 for $60, like, you just have to be careful and you have to be safe, because you can go meet that person at the gas station and maybe literally lose your life, if not all of your money. So, like, when things are bad, things are bad. So just don't get taken advantage of. If a deal's too good to be true, most times it often is. And just be smart. And sometimes the best deal is not making the deal at all. So when this year I was presented with a deal for a bunch of Grateful Dead shirts, the deal was $50,000. The seller, a little apprehensive like always, because he doesn't know who I am. But I told him, I'll go to the bank, I'll get a cashier's check, fly the guy out there, put the check in your hand, you go to the bank, you cash the check, we'll box everything up, we'll ship it out. And that's exactly what happened. I'm a legit business, I'm a legit person. The check had my business name on it. So, like, I'm not trying to screw anyone. I want to do the deal, give the check back, I'll put it back in my bank. So, like, there are ways to safeguard deals where it's safe for both people. And, you just have to always be smart.
I think that's another important deal. And you knew this person through a person, so it wasn't a complete stranger. And yet, even with that, you still flew somebody out because it's
Yeah.
essentially your insurance policy.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've never talked to the person. Um, the guy who works at my brick and mortar store, he told me about the deal. I sent him out there to go look at the stuff, because what if the guy thought what he had was vintage? We get the items here in Florida and it's not vintage, it's reprints.
Mm.
Now I'm out $50,000, or at the minimum, it cost me $1,000 to ship it. Now I got to pay $1,000 to ship the guy back his stuff.
Mhm.
Or from Florida to California, you stop replying to a message, you stop replying to a DM. Like, what is my recourse at? Get lawyer involved, get police involved, and it's just a huge mess. So for $500 to pay the guy to fly out there, he knows what he's looking at. He gives me the thumbs up or the thumbs down, put him in an Airbnb for a couple of days, give him a couple day vacation for going out there in his troubles. And I know for a fact what he showed me on video is what I will receive. I know what the count is going to be, that it's going to correct, because at that price point, if I'm missing 100, that's a lot of money. So, like, I need the count to be correct, I need the items to be correct. So I put somebody on a plane and on the ground, and the deal went flawless. The seller said that was the largest deal he ever done and the easiest deal he's ever done, and he's had more hassle doing a $2,000 deal at the flea market than the $50,000 deal he did with me. And I told him from the jump, I'm professional, I'm a legit business, and I'm ready to do the deal. Didn't negotiate, nothing. Within 24 hours, he had a check in his hand and cash his hand, and the items were on the way back.
Yeah, it's really important to just lay out the terms, execute the terms when things don't happen. I mean, I've essentially pulled out of 90% of deals that I have seen. It's not that easy to actually make a deal. When if you look at a venture capitalist, they invest in 1 out of 2,000 ideas, and they're all
Mm-hmm.
good, and they don't pull the
Yeah.
trigger.
Yeah. And whenever I do a large term deal with that, even with this guy, we talked about the initial terms, did a little bit of discussion. And when we were finished, we reevaluated the terms, make sure we were both on the same page. We were both on the same page. And then we did the deal. Everything was documented in the messages. So everybody was on the same page. Always make sure you're on the same page, reevaluate the deal, ask the same question 3 or 4 times to get the same answer. Even if you know what the answer is going to be, ask it again just to make sure. I must have asked this guy 3 times, how many shirts? How many are blue? How many are this?
Mhm.
Just to get the same answer. Because if someone will lie to you once, they will lie to you again. So, and that's a huge with real estate. Ask the same question again because people like to BS, people like to play games. So just do your due diligence on any deal. Just do the due diligence, do the homework.
This is something I learned from playing chess as a kid, but I've made this mistake in reselling. One of the problems with chess and why people don't win is because they see a good move and then they take it. When chess is a game of patience, you see a good move, you look for a great move, is what my old teacher used to say. Plenty of good moves. Good moves you don't win with good moves. You win with great moves. So take your time, look at 10 deals and pick one. Usually what happens is while you're looking, all of the deals get better anyway. You can take your time.
Yeah. And if you yourself, I mean, we talked about the sellers being desperate. If you're not desperate, you're always going to make the
That's
best
right.
deal because you can afford to pass on a bad deal.
Hmm. We're not saying act slowly, make decisions quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, but they have to be right decisions because just as well as a very smart decision can change your business, a horrible decision can also change your business.
And this is going to bring us into our next thing that you want to prepare for, which is, and this applies even without a recession, but you do want to do more things yourself. When things tighten up, when the economy is in a recession, when your money gets tight, you do more things yourself. And then that going hard will continue when things get better, as you said before the call, which is you just building that momentum while it's tough. And then when it opens back up again, you're already moving at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, 100%. As everybody knows, I'm a huge firm believer of doing as much as you can do yourself before you start hiring out. I think hiring out too early is a huge mistake that can cripple your business. But, when things are going great, a lot of people like to spend unnecessary money, spend a little frivolously, like, the coffee overflows and we're not worried about it.
Mhm.
But when things tighten up, you can't afford to have those mistakes or have that money leaking out. So it's very, very difficult if you're not watching your money and you don't know where your costs are. When things do tighten up and you still have all of this money blowing out everywhere, it's very difficult to reel it back in. And if you are having all of these tasks that you can do yourself dictated out to employees, things tighten up and you can't afford the employees anymore, then it comes back to you to do the work. And if you couldn't do the work in the first place or didn't want to do the work in the first place, then where is that going to leave you?
That's right. This is a good example. Let's look at Apple. When they first were trying to get things going, they didn't have any money. They invented all those crazy commercials that were two colors, like the white person or the white image dancing in a green screen. They invented all this crazy marketing to get it to go viral. And because they were innovating and creating when things were not, they launched iPod, iPad during times when the economy wasn't going so well. Right now, they're investing billions in the advertising because it's cheap.
Mm-hmm.
They're ready right now. Ad revenue is way up because people are at home. And when things aren't going well, somebody's going all in because everything is cheaper right now. And you mentioned you can't even find commercial real estate. You can't find things to invest in right now.
You cannot. And, tell me what the cheapest, most cost effective thing that you could do for your business. The answer is effort. Effort doesn't cost anything. Getting up in the morning and doing everything that you're supposed to do costs nothing. So during COVID, when we shut down, pre-COVID, I was listing 120 items per day. post COVID, I saw the shift, brick and mortar closed. I started having people bringing in inventory. I found streams bringing me stuff that was too much for me to list 120 per day. Made a couple hires, and now we're at 250 items per day at peak COVID shutdown. So during COVID, I literally doubled the business, more than doubled the business during a time when everyone was pulling back, shutting down, getting scared. My mentality is when people are pulling back, when people are scared, that's me to go full charge like Braveheart, just all the way running when people are retreating and backing up. So now that the business is at 250 items per day, it's going to get better. It might not be 2021, might not be 2022. Doesn't matter when it gets better, but when things do get better, because everything comes in waves. We have good times, we have recessions, we have, great economies. When things do get better, my business is going to be on a whole nother level because I'm doing 200 items per day that I'm going to totally be able to cash out and enjoy that windfall because the business is at such a higher level when the times do bounce back.
That is so true. I've been since basically starting this podcast with you 3 months ago, I've been doing more work, more things myself than ever before. I've been more involved. I've been looking at different businesses. And one thing I want to mention, because we're going to talk about me buying a few eBay stores this year. I actually have not bought an eBay store that failed. I've only bought eBay stores that were doing well. If you'd like to keep listening to this podcast, you'll have to subscribe at patreon.com/the resellers podcast. Our podcast is ad-free on Patreon. You get full access to all of our full-length episodes and subscriber-only perks, like a free monthly coaching Zoom call for only $5. Nobody does that. So we're literally offering free coaching for $5 on the first Wednesday of every single month. If you join the Facebook group, you get that same coaching every single week. So subscribe now at patreon.com/the Resellers Podcast. And in that, we also have a Facebook group that is dedicated to helping you guys build a 6 or 7 figure business. Both of us have been doing this for a long time, and we're helping over 400 people do that. So join us in the group, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for listening.